My name is Nuruda. I'm the business developer at the Myanmar Project Management Center, which is the leading education provider of project management related courses in Myanmar. Today, we are presenting objective and key result introduction by Mr.Carsten Ley. Just a little bit of tip before we start that if you have any question during the presentation, please type question in the chat box and we will bring up during the presentation and Mr. Carsten will answer each question after each slide. And then also we have a question Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And also you can use a raise a hand function as well. So now without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Carsten, who is the customer experience and the project consultant and the co-founder of Asia PMO.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nono. Thank you very much. And thanks everybody for joining. I see we are getting a big group together, so thank you very much. Good. So today the topic is HR management by OKR. Does anybody know what OKR means? If yes, please write it in the chat. Can somebody write in the chat what OKR means? I give you some time. Wow. Wow, 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 it's coming, it's coming. I think it's a competition between Vietnam, Netherlands, and Myanmar. Yeah, okay, I see the names here, some of them I know. Good stuff, objective and key results. But what is very important in OKRs are also the actions, and I will come to that a little bit later. So objectives and key results is what you plan, but we really have to come to the actions. So thank you for joining. Thank you also for being very honest that you don't know what is OKR. I see a comment on that. Thank you so much. Before we start now with the webinar, I give you a little bit the ground rules. I mean, we muted you all because you see here on the left-hand side, we don't want to play conference call bingo, right? I mean, we don't want to ask too much. Can you hear me? Are you there? My girlfriend is walking outside with my dog, for example, because we don't want my dog bark during this webinar, and so on. We don't want to hear you eating, and so on. But you, of course, can interact with us. So let's get quickly the rules straight for this webinar. So no bingo. So what are the guidelines today? So we muted everybody at the beginning. So we make it easy for you. So you don't have to mute yourself. You have two functions. You can either chat with us anytime, or you can raise your hand. If you have a question, you can chat it and I will answer it at the end when I finish the slide. Yeah, so I will go through all the questions which I see in the chat. If you raise the hand, Ms. Nono will write it down who raised the hand, and then at the end of each slide you can talk. Okay, we will unmute you. Yeah. Any comments, any questions, just use the chat and have fun. Okay, so please use the chat now. Is it clear what I say? Is it clear? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I see also clapping. Clapping is also a form we can do. Okay, very good. So everybody finds the chat. That's very good. Use it for questions or raise your hands if you want to talk. Yeah, thank you very much. So let's go into the topic. So my name is Carsten Ley. I'm a consultant for HR management, customer experience, and project management. I'm based in Vietnam, but I'm working a lot with MPC. So I'm one of the trainers and consultants at MPC, and we can serve you, of course, in Myanmar and in other countries of Southeast Asia. I already had projects for OKR implementation. So probably you think, yeah, this guy knows the book. That's why he does webinars. I not only know the book, Measure What Matters. We had successful OKR implementation in companies in like MIT, Myanmar Information Technology, Sala Jojo Group, Solar Home, and I also worked for Lazada and Deloitte, where we used OKRs with our teams. Okay, let's jump into the topic. Why agile now? I mean, agile management is a big topic. Now, of course, because of the virus, we need to be very, very agile and very adaptive. But also before we had the virus, we already had to be adaptive in the economy. So why if we look at the dimensions of agiles, so the market is very volatile and disruptive, even when it's normal, and we need the ability to change and adapt rapidly in order to adapt to the market, to any external factors like legal factors or government. Now we have a crisis factor and so on. That's why we need agile. And OKR, objective and key results, is one of the main planning and execution tools of agile management. Yeah. Okay. And forgive me my accent. I'm German. I'm from Germany. I know I should say agile, but somehow I always say agile. So now you understand where it comes from. Thank you very much. So if we look at the challenges today, why agile? There's a tremendous push to accelerate the time to market. And if we look at OKR, and you will see that later, we had the old style planning with KPI, which was 12 months. Now we have OKR with 3 months, which is 12 weeks. So if you just change your planning from 12 months to 12 weeks, you get automatically faster. And hence the team's ability to manage quickly. In OKR, all the team is participating in the objectives, in the key results, in the action. A lot of teams use OKR all over the globe. It can be used by online tool. And of course, a tool like OKR where everybody participates gives you a very high engagement. What you probably had before, or what you still have, are KPIs where the boss says what you have to do. And you like it or you don't like it. But it's not really very much engaging. And I will show you why OKR are more engaging. And of course, we have now a little bit the millennium and the Gen Z workforce who wants to be engaged, who wants to be participated, who wants to use tools, and who wants to be faster. Okay. Do we have any questions here? Okay, no raising hand, no questions. So I go on. If you have any questions later, okay, great. If we have, thank you for your comments. Everybody's alive. If you have any questions later, anytime, we have a Q&A section at the end too. Okay, OKR, objective and key results, you said it. One part which I said is also actions. That's why we from Asia PMO, we came up with the methodology OKRA, like the vegetable. I'll write it in the chat just to make it clear. So we say actions are very important. That's why we call it OKRA. And we still try to market it like a vegetable consulting methodology, but maybe more to that later or in another webinar. Okay, OKR. I know a lot of people don't like the veggie. That's why I'm not very convinced if I will, thanks for the comment, if I will use this name, but we found it funny somehow. But the taste is a little bit, it's a little bit strange for some people. So objectives and key results. If you want to be a modern leadership in your company, and if you want to be agile in your company, you should think about OKR. I mean, KPIs is not very modern. If you use OKR, you can get input from your people on the objectives, on what you want to achieve, and on the objective. In OKR, we normally in 3 months, we only do a small quantity of objectives and key results. Does anybody know how many objectives maximum we should do in 1 quarter? I will write the question in the chat. You can think about it. Okay, 3 is good. 3 to, yes, 3 to 5. So we have some people who really know OKR a little bit. So in 1 quarter, we should focus 3 to 5 objectives. Yeah. So a company, the whole company should focus on 3 to 5 objectives, and the teams can have sub-objectives, which should be connected to the objectives. Yeah. I will give you some examples later. The objectives, of course, should come from the strategy, right? I mean, the strategy is on top. You have a 1-year strategy, you have a 2-3-year strategy. This one is on top. And then when people are working on the objectives and on the actions to achieve the objectives, you should give teams some autonomy. One of the most famous companies using OKR is Google. And Google gives the teams and a lot of autonomy. If you look at the example from Google Maps, I think Google Maps was not a strategic project from Google. A guy came up with the idea, and they gave him a little bit money and a little bit time to develop Google Maps on 2-3 blocks around San Francisco, even without knowing if there would be any chance for advertisement later. And later, when they really saw Google Maps live, they came up with all the advertisement ideas around. So autonomy is good, and let people try things. Autonomy also means that people can do failure. We'll come to that. And OKR makes sure that everybody is working towards the same goals. Yeah, so you have maximum 5 objectives, 3 to 5 objectives. And people feel accountable to these goals. We will come to that on the actions. Now, what is very important on OKR, and I will highlight that more today, we need to communicate transparently the objectives and key results. So it's not like a private agreement like KPIs, where sometimes even your team colleagues don't know what are the KPIs of your boss or of other people. In OKR, everything is transparent. And this is already a little bit a showstopper. So if you're in a company who doesn't want to be transparent, it's a little bit difficult to implement OKRs. But we will come to the cultural prerequisites a little bit later. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? Yeah, there's a question from Alex. Hi, Alex. Yes. So the main objectives, if you have, for example, you have an objective about raise the profitability. Yeah. So one objective is raise the profitability. Yeah. So if you have sub objectives from the teams, they have to be connected to the main objectives. Yeah. So you cannot say as a main objective profitability and as a sub-objective engagement. That doesn't fit. So what is the sub-objective of your team to raise the profitability? Which part of the profitability does it touch? Okay, thank you for the question. So let's carry on with the next slide. If you have questions, just shoot them in. So what are the main 5 elements of OKR? At the beginning of a quarter, we should make the goals or objectives very clear and inspiring. Then we should make them public. And then we measure them on a weekly basis. What are the outcomes of the action? And what is very, very important is that OKR is a lot of trying, that you try from week to week, new actions to come closer to your objectives. And it means you should also allow failure. So you need a company culture who allows failure. I see a question here. How about ad hoc pop-up? Can you talk? Can we give the word? No. Can you give the word? Okay. Yes. Can you please raise your question about the ad hoc pop-up?
Yeah, I mean, if we set up the OKR in the beginning of the period, and then in some cases, like if we have like some kind of ad hoc situations, and yeah, so what should we handle?
Okay, I will. So there are three elements of OKRs, and I will come to that a little bit later and answer your question there, because it's about the objective, key results, and the actions. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you for clarifying. I will come to that back later. Okay. Thank you. Now, a lot of people always ask before we start with OKR, what is the difference to KPI? I mean, the main difference to KPI is that KPI is a process measurement. So if you work, for example, in a factory and you do every day the same thing. So you do one screw for a car, they measure how well and how many screws you do. This is process measurement, but you are not very connected to the end result. And you only see what you do. Yeah. Objective and key result is something where your task is connected to one of the five or to a couple of the five objectives of the company, and you can see directly the impact of your task on the key results of the company. Now, in KPI, we call that success factor. The same in OKR, we call that key result. Yeah. And then the other big difference between OKR and KPI is we measure OKR progress weekly and the overall circle every 3 months. I know most companies, when they do KPI, is 6 to 12 months. So OKR is much faster. Yeah. And you are connected to the full overview of the company. So what are the benefits of OKR? So we can break down the objectives. So normally you get out of the strategy a yearly objective or a couple of yearly objectives, and we break them down to 3 months. And then we can further break down the objectives and key results to all levels to understand and track. Yeah? Because we break them down to all levels, we encourage collaboration and bottom-up interaction. So people can have ideas because everything is transparent. And like I said before, we measure the success regularly. And this part is also a little bit challenging because some of my client companies, they struggle with getting the numbers and the results from their teams regularly. So this is also a part on the change management that you really have to encourage the people to report on a weekly basis. Otherwise, you don't have control on OKRs. When do we use OKRs? So like I said, for production companies, so for a factory, it's a little bit difficult to use OKRs because OKRs should be inspiring, bottom up, and should connect everybody. And normally to use OKR, you need teams or you need companies with a very educated workforce. So OKRs were starting in IT companies like Google and Intel. So in agile, fast-moving companies, where we at least every 3 months, we can change something, but I will come back to the question later, how we can change even things every month or every 2 weeks. If you are in a company which does every day the same thing, which is very KPI driven, you can think that you use OKR first for projects. So OKR and agile management works very well in project environments, which are also very fast-paced. Or if you have departments who touch the whole organization and who are a little bit more strategic, yeah, then like CX or project management office, you can also start with OKR on a department level. What is very important to know is that OKRs and KPIs are not exclusive. So if you are in a company who runs OKRs, you can still run KPI at the same time. So if you want to run OKR for some teams or for the top management, but in some teams like the production, you still need KPIs. Or for sales, you want to still drive that on KPIs. That's not a big problem. Yeah. Okay, we have some questions. Can we unmute and clarify these questions? What do you mean by adapted management project, please?
Hello?
Yes. Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, my questions was, may I know when job rotation is occupied, how the OKR and KPI may effective? So basically, I was working on a project, and then our project was like 2 years project planning. In that case, we have got only 4 project members, and so that uh, at the beginning of the financial years, fiscal year, we already set up our KPI goal. We have got a job rotation, after 6 months, one time.
Yes.
Yes, like the midterm, we have got a job rotation. So what I am doing for 6 months will be delivered to another persons for another 6 months. So in that case, how the OKR and KPI are effective in our achievement?
Okay, so what are your objectives for the 3 to 6 months you are working on?
The first 3 to 6 months. The first 1 to 6 months or 3 to 6 months?
3 to 6 months. What are your objectives before you rotate to another person?
Like this, somehow our project is quite unique so that we have to deal with start from the scheduling to the meeting with C-line levels and collecting the documents and the other reporting structures either. So we have got about 4 or 5 reporting line, so that we have to take job rotations for each reporting line. So like after 6 months, my reporting line is different from another 6 months. So in that case, in that case, I just want to know that how my achievement were measured.
So you have to set objectives for the 6 months. I mean, you are not looking at a whole project. You're only looking until you rotate. So you have to define objectives. Let's say you have to set up some reporting functions. You have to finish the project planning, can be an objective. You start the team management of the project. Do you already have some deliverables within the 6 months?
Actually, like that, the whole project objective were set up by our management. Only tax rotations it's happening in our how can I say project.
So in order to break it down, you really have to define stage objectives. So what are the objectives? Yeah. So what are the objectives after the first 3 months, after the second 3 months, and so on? And you can measure the achievements on that.
Oh,
before you hand over.
okay. So mean that you what you mean is like the fast 3 to 6 months or fast to 3 months. This objective will be titled as a OKR.
Yes.
Okay.
Because normally we do objective and key results on 3 months. So if you have 6 months, you would define for the first 3 months and for the second 3 months.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. I'm just curious on the OKR and KPI and how they measure our achievements.
We will come to that to see how we define the key results and to measure. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, thank you very much for the questions. Okay, let's go a little bit on and I will come back to the ad hoc pop-up question, okay? So OKR, like we said, is not for all companies. So if you have companies which is running on factories or on the same process every day, so it's a little bit difficult to use OKR. If you have any more innovative units in the companies, you can start OKR with this. Now, if we look at OKRs, so we have actually 3 parts. That's why I said I call it OKR-A. And I will tell you, because here it says plan, but we prefer the word action. So objectives, what are objectives? Objectives is where do you want to go and what is the target for the next 3 to 6 months. So ideally it's 3 months, but OKR methodology is pretty flexible. I mean, nowadays, a lot of our clients are switching to 1 month planning because in the crisis, a 3 months planning is almost impossible at the moment. Yeah. The key results is what do you want to achieve after the 3 months? What is the desired outcome? So for example, when you say you are in the first 3 months of a project, of course, when you think about standard project management, you have to do the definition of the project, you have to do the stakeholder information, and you have to do the planning. That's what you normally do the first, let's say, 1 month of the project. Yeah. So finish the planning phase would be a key result within 2 months, for example. Now, I have clients in the IT sector. They have a lot of key results on finishing development, testing, and go live. So we have normally in every IT project 3 big key results is development, testing, and go live. Now, for me as a non-IT person, it's a little bit boring, honestly, because the beauty of rolling out an IT tool is not really the IT tool. For me, it's more the usage of the IT tool. That's why here, as a third question, I always ask my clients, why do we have the objective? So when I ask one of my e-commerce clients, why do you have the objective to roll out this platform? They said, because the month after we roll out, we want to sell. And that's the real key result, which is inspiring for people. So think a little bit above the internal process. Think a little bit more about the really end result, why you do things. Yeah? You are not writing a process because of a process. You are not writing a report because of a report. What are you doing with the report? Why are you doing it? What does it help your company? What does it help you the market? Yeah. Okay. And the last part is planning, or we call it actions. So planning and actions comes mainly from the teams, and how it means how can we achieve that? How can we achieve the key result and the objective? And what actions do we take on a weekly basis? And now if we look at these 3 things, if we come back to the question before, if we have, let's say, a 3-month cycle, which of the 3 do you think we can change very fast? Objective, key result, or actions? Okay. Please answer in the chat. Which of the 3 can we change very fast? Okay, I see the first answers coming in. Yes. What you could change on a weekly basis are the actions. Yeah, because it's a lot about trial and error. If an action doesn't work, you see you are not getting closer to the key result, you are not getting closer to the go live, you are not getting closer to your report, you are not getting closer to the planning of your project, you're not getting closer to your product, then you change the actions. Key results we can change because normally we measure key results weekly and with the management on a monthly basis. So if we see in monthly management calls that the key results are too high or too low, we change them. Yeah, no problem. So we can adapt the numbers a little bit. So we can say, if we said after 3 months, we want 10,000 products, but after 1 month, we only reach 1,000, maybe we have to adapt. Yeah. Objectives, it's a little bit difficult to adapt within the 3 months, because if you are a management who adapts the objectives within the 3 months, you are not very credible as a management. I mean, you can do it 1 or 2 times, especially in a crisis situation, but I honestly do not want to work for a company where the management has no clue what they are doing the next 3 months. So that's, you should probably keep at least for 3 months untouched if possible, if it's not a crisis. Okay. Good. Do we have any other questions here? Objective, key results, and actions. If not, let's practice them. So let's practice them together. I have one example here. If your objective, if your personal objective is you want to get fit, yeah, a key result could be you lose 6 kilos in 3 months. That's a key result. And what you see here is very important. In key results, you always have a value and the date. Because you can also do a key result within 2 months or within 1 month or within 2 weeks. So you're very flexible. It doesn't have to be everything within 3 months. Yeah. And you need a value which you can measure at the end of the 3 months, or you can measure the progress. Yeah. How fast you achieve that. Yeah. An action. Yeah. So lose 6 kilos in 3 months. Yeah. An action could be run daily 3 kilometers. So whatever you do on a daily basis, and remember, that's what we normally measured in KPIs, the daily work, the daily running, the daily managing the team on a project, the daily programming for a new tool, these are actions. These are not key results. Yeah? Doing something daily is not a result. It's an action. Okay. So let's practice that for yourself. I'll give you 5 minutes time. Yes, you get the slides as a PDF after, don't worry. Thanks for the question. I give you 5 minutes time. Please do it first on your paper that everybody has time to think. And when I say you can put it on the chat, you put it on the chat. So I want from you 2 to 3 key results. Please write it on the paper or on your Excel or on your phone. Write down 2 to 3 key results for the objective, increase profit by 10%. Yeah? And when I say you can put it in the chat box, please put some in the chat box and then we speak about it. Thank you. I give you 5 minutes. If you have any questions for this exercise, just ask in the chat. So do we have some key results? Can you start writing some key results into the chat? Let's see what you guys have. Okay, sales increased 30% in 3 months. Can be a key result, yes. Okay, add an extra 20% to my client base. I think that means new customers. Yeah, we can say a little bit more directly and inspiring. Products distributed to be increased by 50%. Yes, the timeline is missing on this one. Introduced a new product to 15 companies. Get 2 new service contracts. Okay, let's say the timeline is 3 months. I like the key result from Myanmar very much, because if you don't use percentages, we can already use percentages in the objectives. But if you do key results, it's much easier to understand the key results. It's more inspiring if you have a number. So get 2 new service contracts monthly or 3 months, introduced to 15 new companies. I think that's pretty inspiring. Yeah. Add 1 more service line. That's also very clear. Yeah. Like I said, percentage. So sales volume by 30% in 3 months can also work. Depends on your company. Some employees, they like it more in real numbers, but you had very good examples. So let's look to my examples. And they are very similar. So if we want to increase profit, we can go in 2 directions. We can sell more or we can reduce the cost. So you have to think a little bit in both directions. Sell 2,000 products in 3 months. Yeah. So maybe at the moment we only sold 1,000. Reduce cost 5% monthly. So I can also define monthly key results, which I then measure on a monthly basis. It's no problem. So a lot of teams, when they come from KPI, they are used to monthly measurements. So you can keep that. You don't have to change fully on 3 months for OKRs. Win 100 new customer monthly. Yeah. Good. So let's practice the same thing with actions. So I give you again 5 minutes time. Please write 2 to 3 actions. Okay, and then in 5 minutes we compare again in the chat. Okay, I see. Already starting writing actions here. So you have something, just shoot it on the chat. Thank you very much. Okay, now I think we are getting a little bit confused. Increase production. I mean, actions have to be very, very clearly defined. If you say increase production, it could be even an objective, right? So an action is really what the team is doing. Yeah. So launch new sales channels. Yeah, this can also be a key result. Because if I want to launch new sales channels, there are a lot of actions behind. So we have to be a little bit more precise on that. Now, if I see actions, for example, sales promotion for 3 months, yeah, we need a little bit more on team basis, the actions, yeah? Add 2 Facebook and 5 LinkedIn posts. This is really action basis already, yeah? Take a course, introduce our services, yeah? So you see, a lot of things can be actions and key results, and you really have to think a little bit about how you want to break it down. So if I give you my examples here on the chat, and you can still write on the screen. Okay, an action is I hire more salesperson. I run weekly cost reviews. I run 3 additional ads per month. So you see, actions are very specific. Yeah. So for example, here the last one on the chat is also very specific, buy bulk order on raw material. And then you can even define on which, yeah, when you go down to the teams. And if we look now to these 3 parts, objective, key results, and actions. So normally the objectives and key results are defined at the beginning of the quarter, and it says bottom up, but bottom up, it doesn't mean it has to be the whole company, but it should be at least the wider management should define the objectives and the key results. Yeah, not only the boss like in KPI. And the actions should clearly come from the teams. Yeah. If I see now in the chat a lot of high level actions, I think we have a lot of managers on the chat. So I really do need team people. Sorry to say that, but I really need team people to give me actions, not the managers. Yeah. And they can change on a weekly basis. And that's where we really align and motivate the team to participate. Yeah. And I will show you later in the tools how we can see in the tools that we are getting closer to the key results. Okay, thank you very much for your great participation. Let's go to the next part. OKR in companies. Now, if we start with OKRs in companies, normally we will do first a check or even write it if you don't have it about the mission, vision, and the values of a company. Because the objectives and the strategy are normally coming from the mission and vision. So if the mission and vision is not very clear or pretty outdated, then we cannot really do OKRs. The other thing is with the values. I said OKRs is for companies who have open communication, who have bottom-up communication, who really allow autonomy. So if you don't have that somehow in your values, maybe OKR doesn't work. So that's why we also check the values here. Yeah. Let's make a quick check here. Does anybody know in your companies the 4 or 5 core values? Can anybody put in the chat the core values of your company? So I put the question in the chat. So anybody has examples of core values from your company? Okay, bring Myanmar to the next level. That sounds more like a mission to me. Managing the transaction to value sounds like a mission to me. So what are the values? I mean, bring Myanmar to the next level is a really good mission, by the way, if we use that as a mission. But values are more like behavioral things or characteristical things. Do we have any example? Yeah, now we are coming. Karina, you're on the right way. Keep promises, be respectful, respect others. These are values, yes. So mission, just to explain it quickly, mission is how we are, why we are here, yeah? Why MPC is in the market. They want to bring Myanmar on the next level. Vision is where we see us in 2 to 3 years or in 5 years, yeah? Make it easy, be inspiring is a value, yeah? Build the DNA for creating and developing sounds more like a mission, yeah? Because that's why you are here. But it can even be an objective or a strategy, yeah? Yeah, lifelong learners, learn together, grow together, fun. I mean, for all my client companies in Myanmar and Vietnam, one of the core value, and I will write it here, and maybe a lot of you will recognize it. One of the core value is this one, family. I see that in most of the companies, especially in Myanmar, which is a great value. We want to be like a family. We want to treat our staff like family. We want to interact like family. That's a great core value. Yeah. Trust. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for the examples. Does anybody has a question on the topic mission, vision, and values? Yes. Hello. Do you have any question? Okay, then we will carry on. Yeah, good. Now we are checking with our client companies if they really have the right culture to implement OKRs. And this example is, of course, not really the right culture. Because OKRs should be really inspiring and motivating. And I think the people in the room don't look very inspiring, motivating on this picture. Yeah? And this is a little bit KPI style. But I hope even in your companies, the KPIs are a little bit more discussed, not really so given like here. Okay. So what did we say about the culture? So the culture should be, we should be flexible to adapt, especially on the action basis, maybe on the key result basis. And on the objective basis, every 3 months, we can adapt the objectives. We should be very open for feedback because we have a lot of feedback rounds in OKR where the staff can also participate. And we want ideas from the staff. Yeah. When we roll out objectives and key results, even people were not, let's say, in the middle management or in the lower management and did really the OKRs, the objective and key results, they can still comment on that if it makes sense or not. And we will take it seriously. Yeah. We need highly skilled teams to roll out OKRs. And like I said before, we have to allow a certain kind of autonomy that people can try, succeed or fail, and we can correct it on a weekly basis, like the actions. Okay, any questions about the cultural dimensions? Okay, I see a question. Yes, I mean, OKR in government can be. I mean, government is also running projects and government has also projectized agencies. And I think if a government is running projects, you can implement OKRs. Yeah. And for standard government procedures, probably not, because it's a little bit like a factory that you do every day the same thing, then probably not. for projects, of course. Yeah. Okay, thank you for the question. Now, what do we do to implement OKRs? So at the beginning of the quarter or at the end of the previous quarter, we set the objective key results and maybe have already some actions. And during the 3 months, we will come up with more and more actions. And then we are tracking on weekly basis the results of the actions against your key results. So if you told me you want to run 3 Facebook campaigns a month, so I look at the actions. Are you really getting to 3 Facebook campaigns a month? And if after 2 weeks you haven't done any Facebook campaign yet, I will probably ask you why. Because 3 a month means after 2 weeks you should have done at least 1. Yeah. And so that's why we track weekly. We also inform weekly the whole company on the objectives, key results, and how far we get. And then normally, and this is a little bit due to that a lot of company come from a KPI structure, and that a lot of financial reporting is on monthly basis. And a lot of things we can measure in companies normally on a monthly basis. We have normally once a month a little bit a bigger meeting with the wider management to see the progress of all the objectives and key results, and to see if we have to adapt anything on the key result basis. Yeah. And then the full review of the objective key results is normally quarterly, where we then think about it. If we have 5 objectives, how many of them did we achieve, and which of them will we take over to the next quarter? Or maybe we'll drop some because they are not relevant anymore after 3 months, and we have new targets in the company. Everything can be possible. Do you have any questions on the OKR roadmap and the implementation in the company? Ms. Nono, are you painting on my screen? Is MPC painting on my screen? Just a fun question in between. Okay, no. Somebody's painting on my screen. It's not me, okay? We will find out later, but it's funny. It looks actually good. I should think about it if we can do that. Okay, thank you. Okay, so process is clear. Okay, can OKR be used in internal organization only? We can use OKR also with our clients. Yeah. So maybe Tin Maung Tan, can you ask your question in the chat, please, and clarify a little what you mean outside the internal organization?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
I mean, can we use this OKR in with the clients and subcon relationships also?
Yes, you can. I mean, you can even especially the objectives. I mean, if you have a 3 months project with the clients or a 6 months project, you can put the objectives into the contract. And the key results are a little bit like the deliverables in a project, right? So what you define probably what you have to deliver to the client or your partner has to deliver to you are the key results. So you can use the same methodology.
So it has to be mentioned in the contract?
No, it doesn't have to be mentioned in the contract. It was just an example. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
thank you.
You are already, just to ask you back, you are already defining what are the objectives in your customer or partner relationship, and you are also defining what are the deliverables, right?
Yes, kind of, yeah.
Okay, and that's instead of the deliverables, take the key results. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can measure on a weekly basis if you do the right actions to come to the deliverables, or if your partner or client does the right actions to come to the deliverables. So it's very possible to use that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see another question. What will we do in between quarterly review and set OKRs? Yeah, so like I said, we have IT tools where we can track weekly. We can even start with an Excel sheet. Yeah, so we can track weekly how far you come with your actions to the monthly or quarterly key results. Yeah, and then we inform weekly, and we will have a bigger stage gate review every month, because then, like one of the very first questions, maybe we have to adapt the key results. Hopefully not the objectives, but maybe we have to look if the key results were really feasible. It's also the first 3 months you implement OKRs are normally not very good, because you need to gain a little bit experience to have right objective, to have really key results, which on the one hand are a little bit inspiring for the teams, but on the other hand, also partly achievable for the team. So yeah, the first 3 months, it's a learning curve. Yeah? But if you already get the action management right on a weekly basis, that I think is a very good progress for OKR. Okay, Koang, does that answer your question? Okay, let's carry on with the next slide. So OKR tools. Okay, I found the button to clear all drawings. So good, we are on the next slide. Okay, OKR tools. There's one tool which we rolled out here in Vietnam or in Southeast Asia from one of our clients. It's called App, and it's a very easy tool for starters, which is also for free, where you can define objective key results and actions and can delegate them via emails to your teams. So maybe you can have a look on that and start to use that if you want an easy entry on the tools. Another tool, which is a little bit state of the art, which some of my client companies are using, is called weekdone.com. This is one of the best tools on the market, but you have to pay for the licenses, of course. So Weekdone tracks the objectives and key results on a weekly basis. And you can see how far you get, and you can even break it down from company objectives to department objectives to team objective to personal objective. So in this example, my client was breaking it down on the first 3 levels only. I mean, if you start OKR the first 3 months, normally you start with company level. Otherwise, it gets a little bit confusing at the beginning. Yeah, but these are tools you can use. Now, if we come to the end of the presentation, what are the key takeaways? So OKR, objective and key result plus action, is really helping you every 3 months to commit to priorities for the whole company and for your teams, and that your people are focusing on the priorities. So it should be crystal clear for everybody. What are the 3 to 5 things we want to achieve? Yeah, and hopefully we stick to these 3 to 5 things. Yeah, and we not only have objective, we also know already the results. So we can measure on every week in the 3 months, how close are we getting to the key results? Did we achieve 20%, 30%, 50%? How many ads, how many reports did we achieve, and so on. So there's another question here. If a company is all new to OKRs, and if you want to implement these, do you start at the bottom or do you start with the management team? That's a very good question. We would normally start with the management team because like I showed you on the slide before with week done, we would start on the company objectives. Yeah. And remember, OKR is something very new in the company, which is change management. And we are also doing a lot of change management in the company. So whenever you want to implement a new system, when you want to implement a new process, if you change from offline to digital, this is all change management. And you can only do change management from the top. Yeah? So if all your leaders are convinced about OKRs, you can carry it through the company. But if you don't convince your leaders and some of them want to stick to KPIs and it's not clear who is doing KPIs, who is doing OKRs, people on the middle management and in the teams will probably get confused. So normally we advise to start with the management or the wider management team to implement OKRs for 3 months. And if that goes well, then we implement it to the teams. But even in the first 3 months, we already ask the teams for actions through their team leaders or through their managers. So everybody can participate. Yeah? Okay, if we go back to the slide before. So it's all about priorities and commitment. Then it's about to align and connect the teamwork. So all the actions people are doing to achieve key results are transparent. So everybody knows who is working on what and they can work together. It also creates a little bit peer pressure on all levels because also your people will know what you have to do as a team leader. So it's all very open and that's the transparency part. And I know some companies still don't want that, but like we said, in companies like Google or Intel, it works very well. We track on a weekly basis. That means we track for accountability. So people are accountable on their actions and against the key results. And then one more part we could do, especially if you read the book, Measure What Matters, we can set objectives which are a little bit more like a dream. And we can help people to stretch for the amazing. So if we go with the example of Elon Musk, he said that in 2025, he wants to be on the Mars, which I think we all know that in 5 years, nobody will be on the Mars. But if his team works very hard on this new spaceship, probably they will be in 5 years back to the moon, which is already pretty good because nobody has been on the moon for 40 or 50 years. So you stretch people to work really, really hard on a higher goal to achieve something which is already amazing. So this is the inspiring part. Now it depends on your companies. If you already run KPIs on 100% for a long time, you can probably not do that because people are so used to really achieve 100%. But OKRs really should be inspiring. And OKR is not like KPI, a performance management, which measures every 6 months, every 12 months, or if you are lucky, you meet your boss every month or every 2 months on a personal review. It's a continuous performance measurement management throughout the whole company. And it's very, very transparent. Okay. Anybody has questions on this slide? Okay. So thank you very much. So let's open the Q&A section. So you can either ask in the chat. So we will open it now another 15 minutes or even longer if you want. You can either ask on the chat or you can raise your hand and we will give you the opportunity to speak. Okay, so thank you for your comment. We really appreciate it. We still keep the line 10-15 minutes open, but I think we already make a wrap up from MPC. Ms. Nono, if you can do the wrap up first, and then we keep the line a little bit open if somebody still has questions.
Okay. Thank you, Carsten. And it looks like we have covered all the questions as well. And thank you everyone for joining today. And we appreciate you being here. Oh, and then we have an upcoming webinar in the coming Tuesday, which is on the April 7th. The topic is about the agile leadership. Same thing as this one, we will be posted on the MPC Facebook page. So please follow our page, and then the results are received as well. And after this call, we will send survey email through to your email as well. So please check and let us know your comments and suggestions as well, so that we can improve in for our upcoming webinar.
Okay,
once again,
great.
thank you all for joining.
Okay,
And
thank you very
next
much.
time.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So we are done. We have one more question here. If some of you want to stay in the line or still comment on what you think about the webinar. So we had one more question here. Let me scroll up. How do we evaluate that we are setting the right action plan to achieve the goal? Like we said, we don't know if we have the right action plan because we can adapt the action plan on a weekly basis. That's the beauty about OKR. Like I tried to say, we do the objective and key result planning at the beginning of the quarter. And then I normally ask the managers, please go to your teams and ask them what are the actions for the next 2 to 4 weeks maybe. But we don't need really a strict action plan for the next 3 months. Yeah, that's agile management, by the way. Agile management is a little bit more iterative, a little bit more trying, a little bit more shorter actions and shorter cycles. That's exactly what we will speak next week about. Scrum, sprints, and so on. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So if you have any more question, oh, there is one. Yeah. Okay. Should we change OKR within a quarter if any ad hoc appear? Yeah, that's what I tried to say at the beginning. We can change the actions first anytime. The key results, yes, after we measure 2 to 4 weeks. The objective, if any situation is a crisis, of course, we should go like now in the Corona situation on a monthly objective planning instead of a 3 monthly, but don't do it too much. If you change the objective too much, you are not very credible as a management. Okay? No worries. Thank you for the question. Okay, so we will see each other again next week on the Agile Leadership. If you have any questions when we send out the email or you need any follow-up on OKRs for your companies directly, please let us know. Please answer us on MPC on our emails or get in contact with us. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.